Hello there, agents, followers and friends. I'm here today with Agent 37 and Agent 33. I'm Agent 17 and we're from the Cosmic Intelligence Agency bringing you our report for the next quarter. Today we'll talk about the Libra Ingress chart, which is the chart for the Equinox, which is on the 23rd of September. And this is a good way to be informed about what is about to unfold over the next 3 months. And more importantly, how we can all participate in what's about to unfold.
Well, Agent 17, the whole thing about an ingress, a cardinal ingress, is of course we have 4 cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn, and these represent, or the 0 degree point of these signs represents the point where the sun is, or appears to be in the sky at the time of the solstices and the equinoxes. In this sense, no matter where you are in the world, you're experiencing the same sort of energy, if you like, in terms of where the sun appears to be in the sky. If the sun is at 0 Aries or at 0 Libra, it's the equinox, and the length of day and night is the same no matter where you are in the world. And if the sun is at 0 Cancer or 0 Capricorn, we have solstice, and depending on which hemisphere you're in, it's either the depths of winter or the heights of summer, but it's still that point where the season changes.
That's why we've picked these points doing these charts for the CIA or the reports, because we find them very potent times to consider what's coming up in the next 3 months.
To bring the world together in a sense, rather than seeing so many different countries and political leaders and all the rest of it as separate. In a sense, astrology is a very beautiful way of bringing people together, because we're all looking out at the same vista when we look out into the sky. So that's the origin of considering these ingress charts, of course.
So, Agent 37, I just want to ask you about the Pluto-Sun connection in this chart.
It is very interesting, the connections with Pluto, because Pluto, of course, is in the first few degrees of Capricorn, where it just entered in 2008. And so with the Sun, obviously by definition at 0 of each of the cardinal signs for each of the ingresses, it will always be making a strong aspect to Pluto in each of these ingress charts that have been happening pretty much since about 2006 up to the present. And so really you can say that this whole period of time since about 2006 has been very strongly influenced by the energy that Pluto represents. And that is, of course, the energy, particularly of Pluto and Capricorn, which is of huge changes and transformations of governance and systems of authority anywhere that we find them in the world, whether that's the functioning of governments, the role of corporations and of banks, and other very, very sort of venerated and important institutions with a great deal of gravitas and history behind them. Just a word about Saturn and Libra. I just think that the recent events we've seen on the political scene in Australia have been so redolent of the energy of Saturn and Libra, being the need to honour and respect the process of democracy and the process of balancing opinions, even though people seem not to be able to make a choice or a decision between 2 different sides, but going through the process of negotiation to the letter of the law. And that is the essence of Libra. And with Saturn in Libra, I think we've been certainly in recent weeks we've been seeing this playing out. And of course, with Saturn just about to transit over Julia Gillard's sun in Libra, she has now ended up becoming the Prime Minister.
Saturn is squaring the nodes in this chart, and as we know, the nodes are, as we talk about karmic wounds or what have you, the South Node indicates the fate of the world and what we've brought to ourselves, and the North Node is the direction where we're heading. So Saturn is squaring that point, would indicate that we're in that crucial phase of really deciding what's worth doing.
Yes.
And it brings a sense of separation and isolation, not knowing almost where you're going, and also letting go of old things. I believe there'll be cutting of old wood. It's like like that symbolic thing of getting rid of old things that haven't quite worked. So there'll be a shedding of that. It's not really that great for the stock market, because that's one of the secondary factors that comes out a lot when the market suffers. So that would be interesting in 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because Saturn, of course, always represents reality, and it can be quite hard reality, and quite different from the sort of bubbles of speculation that we know have really become really quite excessive over the last few years. So I think, Saturn squaring the nodes suggests a sort of a reckoning with reality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
the hardship of change.
Yes.
That's right.
But at the same time, with Saturn in Libra, I guess it does remind us that reality is reasonable. We need reality. We need things to be real and to have common sense about things.
Okay, another standout point in this equinox chart is between Mars and Venus in Scorpio. Being a financial astrologer, can you tell us a bit about what this might mean?
Well, we know that the sign of Scorpio is the one associated with death and decay. It's the ending of things. So Venus in Scorpio is actually in its detriment, and historically, when you look back at the markets, every time Venus goes into Scorpio, there's actually a decline in the stock market, which is pretty much symbolic of the 8th house as well. There's a Scorpio house, which is foreign relations with other countries, so there might be some stress. Now, the fact that Mars is there, it will bring some sort of aggressive type of hard, maybe power struggles in relationships, but we're going to focus on foreign relations because it's the 8th house, so in the mundane chart. And also, I think that Mars is the old ruler of Scorpio, so it's quite strong in that sign. But remembering that during this ingress, Venus is going to turn retrograde. So she's going to leave her lover, she's going to abandon her lover.
Yes.
So when that happens...
is that October the 15th?
Yeah, around mid-October, and she's going to turn, and that's a time the markets again will have an effect at that time, because remember, Venus rules money, and anytime she goes retrograde, it's basically like when Mercury goes retrograde, we know what happens in terms of communication. Well, it's the same effect with Venus going retrograde. The money, anything to do with money, and goes... there's a change in trend, so we were expecting...
So it might actually go upwards if the
could,
trend has been much more
yeah.
of going downhill. But
that's right.
Agent 144 couldn't be here with us today, but he has sent in a message that I've just received, and he's a bit of a he is a fixed star expert, and he's just informed me that Jupiter and Uranus and the Moon are conjunct the fixed star Sheet.
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 How do you spell that?
SCHEAT.
Sheet.
The left leg of Pegasus relates to the emotional instincts to move and take flight. Sheet has a strong association with drowning, also relating to losing oneself and drowning in the wanton desires of the ego. So move to higher ground, everyone.
But it's interesting, isn't it, Agent 17 and Agent 33, that the effect of an ingress isn't just the 3 months after the ingress, which is the classical sort of interpretation. I think rather like eclipses, really it's kind of like a focus point in time around which the events before and after tend to kind of gravitate.
Yes, right.
And so I think that constellation in Pisces, conjunct Sheet, seems to be saying something about the flooding that we've been seeing recently. Not just of course locally here in Australia, but much worse in Pakistan.
How do you see the Uranus-Pluto time coming up?
Well, of course, this is a period that's going to last for quite a long time. There are 7 exact square aspects between Uranus and Pluto between 2012 and 2015. So this is going to be a long period of
We're just at the beginning, aren't
that
we?
we're just at the beginning
We're
really,
just-
and
yeah.
we haven't even reached the first exact aspect.
Mm.
But we can see the aspect already forming in each of our ingress charts as we go through time, and it's getting closer. But now that you say that Uranus is moving into Aries, beginning of next year,
Next March?
next
Yes,
March,
yeah.
to stay in Aries for 7 years, then I think that aspect is really starting to come to the fore. And of course it's the aspect, it's the cardinal aspect of the 1960s, the mid-60s period. It's the power of technology, but it's also the awakening of transformative revolutionary forces in society. It's people demanding progress on a whole wide range of areas, and being quite ruthless in ensuring that they achieve that. It means a lot of conflict, I think, ideological conflict, perhaps much more polarized polarization between people who have a very progressive, perhaps green view of the future, and more entrenched interests, particularly moneyed interests, who would rather that things remain the same.
That's all we have time for with this report. So stay tuned for our next one, which will be in December. But you never know, we might come up with something in between. So stay tuned to the website. Our website has the details of our intention mission for this equinox, which is remember to subscribe to our quarterly bulletin, support our work, tell your friends. Even better, become an agent and join the agency. So we'll see you next time.
I'm Agent 37, signing out.
I'm Agent 33, ciao for now.
And I'm Agent 17, and we'll see you next time. Bye.